Dr. Pogrow, thank you for being here today. Please tell us about who you are. What department are you in? What is the position you hold? And how long have you been with San Francisco State University?
Hi, everybody. I appreciate the opportunity to introduce myself to you. My name is Stanley Pogrow. I am a professor in the College of Education. I'm a full-time professor of educational leadership in this program. I have been a professor of educational leadership and doctoral programs, both PhD and EDD, for over 30 years. I'm afraid to add up exactly how many years, so we'll just leave it at 30. I've been at San Francisco State for 10 years, and I've been at the University of Arizona prior to this, and I came here to coordinate San Francisco State University's participation in the previous Joint Ed Leadership Doctoral Program with UC Berkeley. And I came to this program because I felt that it had some very innovative features that were a major advance in the field of educational leadership. When that program was done away with and we started our own program at San Francisco State, I helped plan the original version of the program. And as I said, it's been really exciting to see the program develop.
Professor, what are your interests? Please describe the critical issues in education that motivate you and the impact those issues have had on your work.
I guess the thing that motivates me the most is to see this achievement gap that exists, knowing that children of color and children from underrepresented groups have as much intellectual capability as any others. It started in my teaching days in inner city New York City in public schools in the Harlem community and in other communities in predominantly low-income areas. And I decided that to become a professor to try to develop better ways to reduce this achievement gap. I should say my work focuses on K-12. And so my specialty really is large-scale reform for reducing the achievement gap. And as a professor, I don't enjoy sticking to the ivory tower, so I believe in learning by doing. And probably the thing I'm most known for is the development of the Higher Order Thinking Skills Project, which changed how we treat Title I and mildly disabled students in schools, and instead of giving them remedial practices and as the primary intervention, treating them as though they were children of the wealthy and designing very advanced forms of teaching and learning for them. And even with just 35 minutes a day of this kind of instruction, they blossomed intellectually, emotionally, socially, and their test scores increased dramatically. And I've been fortunate to be able to have this program adopted in over 2,600 schools nationally and served over 500,000 students all over the United States in all types of cultural settings, and been able to work with lots of wonderful teachers. So I do a lot of writing on policy and increasing opportunities, particularly as it involves the use of technology and advanced forms of teaching and learning, and documenting the intellectual potential for reducing substantially the achievement gap. I'm now working in the area of how we can avoid having the Common Core actually re-accelerate learning gaps, and what types of interventions are needed to help students from underrepresented groups succeed at their full capability in all of these new standards and tests that are coming on board. Another thing that I have been am known for is my work in debunking simplistic approaches to helping children of poverty. I had quite a bit of work published showing how some of the most popular approaches to supposedly helping low-achieving students in inner-city schools actually repressed their intellectual development, and showed how a lot of the research claiming success for the most widely used intervention was actually bogus, to use a technical term. So I'm dedicated to trying to get the best approaches incorporated into schools for helping children from underrepresented groups. My other interest right now that I'm working on is the use of quantitative methodology to help specifically EDD students and school administrators make better decisions relative to practice and how to decide which kinds of interventions are effective, and provide this as a complete alternative to the typical type of stat books that are currently being used.
Dr. Pogrow, can you please take a moment and tell us about the research methodologies that you have used and why?
For the most part, I've been involved in mixed method studies, although most of my writing within that and my specialty would be the quantitative end of that spectrum. But I am within quantitative methodology, as I had said earlier, I'm particularly interested how to get away from the typical notions of quantitative methodology and come up with a different way of presenting it and thinking about it and teaching it so that it is simpler, less confusing, and much more directly applicable to the needs of EDD students and administrators.
Professor, what is your experience working with doctoral students? What types of roles have you performed in the EDD program, such as teacher, chair, member of committee?
Yes, 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 and yes. And I've served as chair and member of dissertation committees for EDD and PhD at 4 universities. I've been a department chair for Ed Leadership. I've been a coordinator. I guess I've done just about everything, but my favorite role is that of professor and mentor to students. And I chose to step back from any administrative positions for the purpose of just being a full-time professor researcher. I'd like to take a moment, though, and talk about what I'd like to do here. I'm very widely published. I've been voted one of the top scholars in the field of ed leadership, and I really enjoy working with students and helping them craft their writing, and also in terms of orienting their work so that it has publication potential. Right now, I'm only working with students in the 3rd year when they're working on their dissertation, but I am available and would love to meet and talk with you about your ideas. Feel free to get in touch with me earlier. I look forward to having many interesting conversations with you even before I have opportunity to work with you as an instructor.